Our opening keynote, Sri Ambati is the CEO and co-founder of H2O. In case you haven't heard, H2O is the leading open source machine learning platform used by 18,000 companies and hundreds of thousands of data scientists. Prior to H2O, Sri co-founded the big data analytics company Platfora. His professional career also spans technical and executive roles at Datastax, Azul Systems, and RightOrder. His academic career involves sabbaticals in theoretical neuroscience at Stanford and Berkeley and an MS in math and computer science from the University of Memphis. He's a regular speaker in the AI, ML, and big data circuit. Please welcome Sri to the stage for his talk entitled Democratizing AI in Finance. Welcome, Sri.
The idea of democratization is to rise from the audience and present here. Right? It's fun to be here. Thank you. We'll start with technology, as always. What you're seeing here is using AI to do AI, right? So, many of you. So we started with trying to democratize credit. Here's a continuous machine learning model that's learning from training data and then building those automatic features needed to build models. Today, it's still very expensive to do data science. Still, the per experiment cost is still high. So democratize for us is to make it faster, cheaper, and easier to do data science. The KPI for a data center is the cost of each experiment. If what you can do that takes 6 months, if it's a 6 months project, can be done in 6 minutes, then you could do it so many times and you're not even afraid of taking that risk. So that's, let me launch one more experiment for us, and that's anti-money laundering, which is a popular use case. You're trying to predict target. Again, many of you probably familiar with the columns here: ATM withdrawals, credit purchases, wires. What we've done as a team in the last few epochs is build custom recipes and allowed you to make your own recipes. So we're going to see some AML-based recipes that are built custom, but we anticipate you to go and make your own AI. The concept of building your own recipes is to bring the domain scientists into the data science. Up until now, data science and domain experts were competing against each other, trying to see who's going to prevail. Our vision is one that brings that teams together. Teamwork is the essence of being successful in data. The real challenges for AI today is not technology, it's culture. How can we incentivize teams is kind of at the heart of how we can bring this AI transformation together. So we have essentially built a bunch of open source recipes on our driverless AI platform that allows you as data scientists and domain experts to contribute or make them yours and try to build more vertical recipes. So this is the next iteration in what we've been building. Finally, I'm going to talk about one other piece, which is how to interpret and explain your model. So you've built this great model that predicts the weekly sales of Walmart in this particular case. People want to understand how to interpret that and get your business to react. Shapley methods and Lime and other techniques are right there to try and help build that, especially for time series. You want to understand and use the game theoretical methods to go after and implement these machine learning. Explainability. Fairness in lending, we're working with several customers on that. So kind of just give you a quick sampling of the product. I want to jump into kind of the meaning and essence behind AI. One last piece of that is building experimentation reports on getting consistency in doing AI is just as important. Guardrails, new people are joining your organizations continuously. Data scientists are very a difficult resource, but you're continuing to recruit them. You want consistency in how a new data scientist joining your team is able to build and train models. NLP has been, the last year, the key biggest piece that has happened in the last year is NLP has hit that ImageNet movement. BERT models, transfer learning, most of those techniques are right at your fingertips, so you do not have to try and rebuild the world. There's a lot of reusable modeling that has happened. And so H2O driverless AI is one of the many platforms out there which allow you to deploy pre-built models so you can start using them. I'm going to pull up automatic reports generated from the model that can be used. Here's a model that's built before for us. It's a sentiment analysis model for NLP. And you want to understand what techniques were used. Was TensorFlow on? Were we using Torch? All of those pieces can be documented. Or again, custom for several banks. We're working with some of the largest banks, which are our customers, to make this, again, customize it for your deployment and your use. Every place where we can save time, we have tried to innovate, and we continue to innovate with the partnership of our customers. So with that, I'm going to jump into kind of the why aspect of AI. Our vision here is to make every company an AI company. AI is not a software movement. It is powered by your data. It is here to protect your brands. So make your own AI. Take the software from software vendors and cloud vendors and partners like ours, but make it yours because your data needs its own AI. I start, as always, with a haiku. This one talks about to be alive. To be alive is to wash upon the wave of life. To be alive is to build the world step by step. To be alive is to search the universe till you find your home. A year ago, I started this conference, the first AI for finance. I'm humbled to be back here and be amongst yours. The conference has grown. Thank you, New York, for allowing us to do that. Change is the only constant. And being prepared for change management is the #1 problem in how AI gets adopted. A great book here and a phenomenal poem that has transformed how we think about the world. And yes, admit that the H2O around you has grown. We are here to help. We've grown, and we are announcing our H2O New York in October 22nd. Again, a day full of immersive experiences, customers like yourselves speaking about their experiences over the years. We've grown. Last year was 750 folks in summer. We look forward to hopefully seeing some of you there. Our open source has been growing dramatically. About 20,000 companies use H2O today, and more from the ranks of data scientists. Time is the only non-renewable resource. And so conserve your time. And that's really roughly what you're doing, is to optimize AI with the latest in hardware, so GPUs, FPGAs, any cloud that has. We're working with Google on TPUs. We're working with hardware that's coming custom at us. We're trying to make sure the algorithmic complexity doesn't stall. The machines and the machine learning algorithms are not going to be the reason why you're going to be behind. I think the change management is going to be the #1 concern for across your organization. The 3 things to learn from a child: always be happy, never be idle, and cry for what you want. Really important, that cry. We always wanted AI, and we've been doing it even when it was not popular. So how do you distinguish between someone who really believes in what he does and what he doesn't? Well, what can I learn from a thief, right? 7 things, apparently. To withstand all kinds of beatings and tortures, but to remain who you are, right? To believe that your work is worthwhile and not be willing to change. Oh, I like #4. Be willing to risk one's life, even for a little thing. But once you acquire that, this particular thief, he steals a laptop, sells it for $20 right on the corner. Because once you do not attach too much value, even if you risk your life for them. We hope to live up to some of these. But fundamentally, the theme behind life is to spark joy. And joy is life. And that's part of the culture we've risen from. So another interesting lesson on the journey is silent is not just an anagram of listen. Listening to yourself is just as powerful, and to turn off the noise, you need to be silent. Data science is the search for truth. And that truth is continuous, it's relentless. Every question you take to your team comes back with another, you solve it with an answer, comes back with the next question. And that's kind of what makes data scientists a bit vulnerable, because they are in that, almost immersed in that search for truth. And we want people to evoke response and do something with what you have found. Self-trust is also a sense of heroism. So how do you playing that role in your organization and stand for what you found? Across the world, AI has has unlocked possibilities. It discovers new things and challenges the conventional wisdom. It takes courage to follow through with what you have found. And really, the guidepost there is how authentic can you really be? Authenticity is what made us unique. Every zebra has unique stripes. Every man has unique fingerprints. Every woman has unique fingerprints. We want you to be yourself and truly express how you felt. And data is nothing but capturing your experience and in making true leaders out of yourself. Self-discovery, obviously, going one step further into truth, is the sense of knowledge. And we're kind of trying to really bring that out. AI is going to challenge us to be more human. Our culture, we call it maker culture. What does that really mean? We want you to be makers just as much as we are. We experienced the power of AI. It's transformed us as a company. And that movement is going to transform you and your organizations. And so don't just buy vendor stuff. Don't just buy software. Make software. Software is eating the world. Our competition is no longer the next door bank. Our competition is the technologists ourselves, the software coming from everywhere. So embrace it. Take it and make it yours. Data is a team sport. And domain knowledge is at the source, at the root of that entire data evolution. And so I would love to encourage bringing these groups together. How to incentivize teams is still a very new concept in the large organizations. And so the best algorithmist is usually sitting not in the same building even to the best business person asking the question. So bringing them together, we've seen a lot of concepts in several of our customers where teams of 8 were created, but they were ensured that age group was the average age of the team was greater than 40. And the reason was you want to bring the cultural elements of your company to bring the change that is discovered as part of the data science. Domain science is where the next generation of AI is going to come from. Verticalization of AI is what we're seeing everywhere. So another deep concept in our thinking is empathy. Customers, developers, data scientists need to generate that sense of empathy for everyone, for their customers, more important. And so I think the whole user experience and how to create the designs that can capture feedback. Feedback is gold. And trying to have applications where you can capture that empathy is almost as important as the science itself. We talked about a lot of non-renewable resources. The only renewable resource in the world is love. And love can break the barrier of time, despite Einstein. And what is love, really? It's about perfect comprehension. The more we learn about something, the more we're closer to that truth. when you're surrounded by yourself and you think it's an individual, what is my role in the world? Do I need to really care? Do not for once doubt that even the little you can do can bring massive change. We were the first .ai, second .ai domain. And at the time, .ai and Tieglers Island, who thought that would be a massive movement? But that little thing can bring massive change. And I think we would almost challenge everyone to do that little piece to move the world. To some degree, the whole is encapsulated in each one of us. And that whole is what we are all seeking. 0 and 1 are not so far apart. The life cycle of data doesn't stop with the science, right? So once you get to insight, you want to get to stories. The stories are where several years of stories transform to wisdom. The only wisdom we can hope to acquire is the wisdom of humility, and humility is endless. T.S. Eliot said that, and gratitude, we found, is as endless as humility. Thank you, we're here. Thank you for community. Thank you, community, which brought us here. Thank you, customers, partners, and all the ecosystem co-creators. Thank you, competition, to keeping us honest. Thank you, all the audience, for being here. Gratitude is certainly one of those things that makes everyone feel great. Giving has been the only way to get happy. We are here on the shoulders of an amazing team, and gratitude to the H2O World team. There are some patterns for AI-first applications, and the fundamental pattern is if data is the most richest resource in the world, how do we get richer? By making new data. How do you create new data? By forcing feedback loops within your organization, feedback loops with your customers, feedback loops with your users. AI is fundamentally transforming data to code. It was interesting to see the history of AI. The history of AI has been very imperfect. We have actually failed over the last 70, 80 years after coining the word. So AI is fundamentally very risky. So how do we de-risk it? By demystifying it, by reducing the hype, by making sure you can actually do practically things with it. Practical things is deployments. How can I get AI to be software? So one of the things that we do with H2O, and most now TensorFlow does the same, is deploy code from the models. And that deployment allows you to get that feedback loop more frequently. Applications get more feedback than PowerPoint. The future we see is an app store of AI applications. Today we are in the AutoML phase of AI. ML 5-10 years ago was really very brittle. Today ML scales at large data sets. AutoML is where we are seeing most of the transformations. Middleware for AI is roughly what we are trying to do with the recipes, the patterns, the design patterns for building vertical apps. And I think fundamentally we'll see a very rich, continuously learning containers which can react to changes in markets just as they're happening. We also see that data scientists are going to be crucial for doing strategy. It is the rise of strategy science that is right around the corner. Once automatic machine learning takes away the grunt work of doing data science on a daily basis, people knowledgeable with the data science are going to be part of every strategy team. Strategy science is kind of where the road ahead is. The two really big career transformations that are about to happen. One is the rise of data journalism and the rise of strategy science. How do you measure? What are the KPIs for your data lake? What are the KPIs for your AI projects? Well, we need to, the AI is, how do we make new mistakes? If companies can celebrate mistakes, because someone who's failing is actually learning. Learning is fun, but learning is painful. And one needs to encourage that learning rate of our organization as a whole. You can see that more and more companies that can fail fast and react and change are going to be the leaders of the future. We talked about AI to do AI, and earlier I had presented the demo of a driverless AI. There are several platforms in our arena on this. This is a whiteboard from about two and a half years ago. I'm fortunate that the team has actually implemented it. Bringing your own recipes, both on-prem, in the cloud. We almost anticipated Google's AutoML and the rise of AutoML from the clouds. We could embrace that as part of this bigger picture. What we are working on is creating beautiful user experiences, the visual elements to tell stories. I think that's where the next edge in this space is. How do you build platform services that will make model operations much more smoother? How do you detect drift? How do you figure out when to do the models all over again? Inference services is kind of where a lot of work is going in right now in our space. We looked at this earlier. The fundamental aspect here is that there's several pieces to this puzzle. We started with feature engineering, automatic feature engineering, time series, the time series problems that are weekly versus the time series problems that you do on the day, within the millisecond of a trade. A lot of different recipes there. NLP has come of age. Deep learning, embracing a lot of OCR. We're seeing a lot of QR work now happening. Transformation of documents into vectors, and then applying regular transactional algorithms on top of that. About 20,000 bonds are repriced every day today with automatic machine learning. So the key concept is how liquid your asset is. So you could actually, the right balance of liquid and liquid is where we're seeing that boundary, the boundary of AI showing the better alpha. Rolling your own recipes in each of these verticals is where the road ahead is. The physics of the product, any product you're working, is the physics of the team. We came here with the strength of the core compilers teams, but we work very closely with physicists. I don't know how many physicists are in the audience, but physics is where the rubber meets the road. So any physicists in your organization, please treasure them. We are fortunate to have grandmasters in H2O. H2O is about the world's highest concentration of data scientists and grandmasters, Kaggle grandmasters, but they define the boundary of the best practices in the space. Customers are our real domain experts, and they are part of the aspect of building the products. This is the picture of H2O, but that is probably the picture of several of your own data science organizations. Start with the data scientists first, not last. In our H2O proverb, we call it start with the Kaggle grandmaster first, because we do have a rich set of, we have about a dozen grandmasters call H2O their home. AI to explain AI, and you see several talks today that will touch topics like this. At the highest level, storytelling is at the heart of how to react, how your businesses will take the findings that you found. Yes, Shapley is amazing. Can we tell a story that you can take to the businesses and get them to react and change the business processes? Trust is at the core of what runs our entire society and economy and families. And so building trust is what we're really doing. And winning quarters is amazing, but winning trust of our customers and our community is what got us here. We've been working on two interesting AI for good projects. One is conservation of wildlife. Every zebra on that picture is unique, as I rightfully said. So we deployed our product in wildlife conservation to prevent poaching. Another project we're working is for academics and schools, students in the audience. Our products are free, and AI for good is just on the right edge of the corner. AI has the potential to unlock imagination and empower every entrepreneur in this world. The fundamental problems we are seeing are lack of enough ownership in the world. We want to democratize not just AI. In the future, we want to democratize ownership. All life is time series. This is a great time point in the history of our movement, the AI movement, and we're really honored and humbled to be here. and it's exciting. Come join us, and we want to be your partners in this transformation, and this will be fun. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that insightful presentation.